Yes, yes it is. Really is. I do feel fine. Hi YouTubers, and welcome to another exciting adventure of current Christian commentary and news. You know them, you love them. Wait, that's me. Never mind. Pastor Steve here with current Christian commentary and news. Hey, I mentioned back in June the violence, and one of the things that this is not controlled violence. This is violence that's being perpetrated or thrust upon the American people by design. And this is nothing new. This has gone out throughout history. You know, you look at the brown shirts in Germany. I'm going to show you a short clip of what I talked about back on, I believe it was June 17th of this year, when I predicted the violence that was going to come. And it's all being funded by a guy by the name of George Soros through the Black Lives Matter crowd. And of course the mainstream, lamestream media plays right into its hands. But let's just take a look at a little clip from back in June of what I said back then. So their goal, just like the brown shirts in Germany, is to just cause trouble, put people in fear, cause as much chaos as they possibly can, to the point where society will scream for martial law. And in this case, I believe President Obama is hoping that there will be so much violence and so much chaos. This is why they spin every one of these mass shootings, like the one that just took place in Orlando. This is why they spin it, to take away our guns and looking forward to martial law. This is why the Black Lives Matter crowd thinks that if they cause enough violence, this is the theory. Oh, by the way, Black Lives Matter, D. Ray McKenzie, the fellow I've been telling you about, yeah, been to the White House several times. Here's a photo. There he is. Okay, I know I haven't aged much since then, but I feel like I have. But yeah, that's what I started to tell you, and I have another video out about this, but this is all designed to bring chaos to the country, I believe, to either sway the election or delay the election or cancel the election coming up. Because, well, I'm not going to get into the politics at this point. Let's just stick with the violence. So we've been predicting this violence, and it's starting to come forth. First off, we have several police shootings. It doesn't matter which one, because the facts of the police shooting are insignificant. Makes no difference that one of the riots that was caused supposedly by an unjustified police shooting, doesn't matter that the young man who was shot and killed, doesn't matter that he had a gun in his hand, doesn't matter that he had pointed a gun at a cop. No, doesn't matter anymore. And this is the paradigm, or this is the narrative that they're trying to get you to wear us down, to realize, oh, the police are just killing people left and right. Look, I was a cop for 9 years. No police officer in his right mind. There's always a bad apple. I understand that. That's with every profession, okay? But no police officer in their right mind wants to shoot anybody, period. You know, those of you that own guns, I hope you feel like I do. You know, if I never have to use my gun in self-defense, that'll be just fine with me. And as a police officer, I felt the same way. If I never had to shoot anybody, now, sadly, I was in 2 different shootouts, but story for another day. But this violence, okay? So the facts don't matter. The paradigm is police officer kills young black person. Black lives matter. No other lives matter. You can watch my video on Black Lies, Lies matter, at another time. But now you have the President of the United States, condoning this violence. Now, he doesn't come right out and say it. You know, the words that he uses are all sugar-coated in honey, but the message that he's sending to the Black Lives Matter crowd and the anarchists and the communists funded by George Soros is very clear. Take a listen to the President of the United States.
One of the great things about America is that individual citizens and groups of citizens can petition their government, can protest, can speak truth to power, and that is sometimes messy and controversial, but because of that ability to protest and engage in free speech, America over time has gotten better. We've all benefited from that. The abolition movement was contentious. The effort for women to get the right to vote was contentious and messy. There were times when activists might have engaged in rhetoric that was overheated and occasionally counterproductive, but the point was to raise issues so that we as a society could grapple with them. The same was true of the civil rights movement and the union movement and the environmental movement and the anti-war movement during Vietnam. And I think what you're seeing now is part of that long-standing tradition.
If you would have told me, 30 years ago that a president would speak like this about violence, I never would have believed it in a million years. Then you have the sister of one of these victims that was killed saying something very profound. And I'm telling you, I don't think she came up with this on her own. But she's the sister of one of the shooting victims, and she says something very profound. She says, I'm going to paraphrase what she said, we need to stop the violence in our community and take the violence into the suburbs. And that means into the white suburbs, of course. That's what she's talking about. So, yeah, you look at the riots in Ferguson, the riots in Maryland. They burned their own towns down, and we're all sitting there scratching our heads. Okay, you burned your own CVS down. Now you don't have a CVS. What about that makes sense? Well, none of this makes sense. These people are being directed. They are like violent sheep. And again, the puppet master, George Soros, who, by the way, is funding Hillary Clinton. It's amazing. And we know this. How do I know this? Because of the leaked emails. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm only going to stick with the violence today. So now this young girl, I'll show it to you in a second, this young girl, the sister of one of the supposed victims who was shot and killed by the police, listen to what she says.
CNN edits Seville Smith's sister's call to move riots to the Milwaukee suburbs. Sherelle Smith, sister of Seville Smith, the Milwaukee man who was shot dead by a police officer over the weekend, has urged rioters to burn the suburbs down. On Saturday, 23-year-old Seville Smith was killed in an officer-involved shooting that sparked racially charged riots over the weekend. In the wake of the riots, the citizens of Milwaukee have gathered to pray for peace. During an interview with CNN on Monday, Smith condemned the rioting in her own neighborhood, but urged rioters to burn the suburbs down. CNN edited out that part of the interview in a report titled, "Residents Trying to Heal." The report said Smith was calling for peace and cut to footage of Smith saying, "Don't bring that violence here." Here's what Smith actually said.
Don't want to hurt somebody, take that shit farther out.
CNN correspondent Ana Cabrera later took to Twitter to admit that Smith's sister's comments had been mischaracterized. We shorthanded sister's quote, Cabrera tweeted, unintentionally gave the impression she was calling for peace everywhere. See a story that really should be animated? Suggest stories to Toa News Now.
Okay, so there it is. It's as plain as day. Take this stuff to the suburbs. In other words, the war on white people by Black Lives Matter crowd has begun. Now it's begun years ago, okay? Muammar Jamal and all these others, but now, of course, it's coming to new heights simply because we're getting closer and closer to the election. Here is the very first known video of a Black Lives Matter agitator just on his own attacking a white couple, a young woman and her boyfriend. And you can see that until he strikes, and I'm going to try and edit out the language. I apologize if I didn't get it all. But until this black man strikes the woman in the face, for the most part, her boyfriend does nothing. And of course, after he does that, well, I'll let you see the video for yourself.
Oh! Well, stop!
Okay, so that's the first known piece of violence to come out of, piece of video to come out of this Black Lives Matter violence. I got to tell you something, though, folks. We are literally seeing a time where it's just truth is prevailing. These folks are not going to prevail. Number one, I believe in the sovereignty of God. I believe that he still, perhaps, will give this country one last chance to repent of her sins and turn back to God. But regardless, this is the kind of thing that's going to take place with more frequency in more suburbs and more attacks on white people. I hate to say it. President Obama had the opportunity to be the greatest president in the history of our country. What? Yeah, you heard me. He had the opportunity to be the greatest president in the history of our country. Had he have taken the steps as a black man, as a man of color, had he had taken the steps to unite us, he would have gone. He would have ended up on Mount Rushmore. But he's driven by an ideology. This ideology comes from his communist father and his radical Muslim roots. He is a very evil man, and I just hope that he does not stay in power, does not forego these elections and find a way to stay in power because a war is going to break out or whatever, the economy is going to crash, or all of the above. I have no idea. But folks, again, keep an eye out for the violence. If you are an owner of a firearm, and I'm telling you, you have a right before God to protect yourself and to protect your family. Again, the truth will come out. Take a look at this man. He doesn't claim to be a Christian, but he is a what they call African American. I hate that term because I have several friends from Africa and they're all white. But anyway, and they're Americans. But anyway, this black man, he speaks sense, and again, they're not going to win, at least not this time. Why? Because of the truth. Listen to what he has to say.
I just want to go live for a little second because I just want to ask a question. It might seem a little petty, but you know, I want to know, where are the Black Lives Matter and the Black Panthers? Because I ain't seen one Black Panther vote or one Black Lives Matter vote. All I see is our own people from our city and the wildlife and fisheries and the police and all that. All I see is our people from our own city, saving us, going in and rescuing people. I see plenty of brothers who got boats and trucks going in and rescuing people, taking the time out of their own life and going in and rescuing people. But I have not seen not one Black Panther vote, not one Black Lives Matter boat, truck, or nothing else. So with all the drama that was going on with the Albert Sterling killing, they came out with guns and ready to go to war. But here we go, all these people flooded out and truly in need of some help, and you can't find not one of them. If you find one, holler let me know. Post up. If y'all out there, where you at? Where your boats? Where your money? Where your food? Where your services at? You ain't brought these people no water, nothing yet. BLM, Black Lives Matter. Obviously, we must don't matter too much because I ain't seen y'all yet. When we really need you, we ain't really need you for the war, but we really need you for this flood. Now I'm gonna let y'all see. Where y'all at? I ain't heard from them yet. If y'all really care about these people, show up now. I'm just saying though. I'm out.
I'm telling you, man, straight up, where are the Black Lives Matter when it comes to black lives being killed, black on black death, blacks dying in the floods in Louisiana and other catastrophes? Folks, we're living by the media sound clips, the mainstream media sound clips. That's why I've turned to alternative news for my sources of news. I really thank you. I want to thank the subscribers, thank all of you for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe. Send this video out to your friends. We've got to. Like my friend Ron Johnson says, if you're listening to this message, you're part of the resistance. Pray that God's blessings be upon you. We'll see you next time. God bless you and God bless yours. It really is the end of the world as we know it. Here it comes. Wait for it. Oh, wait, not yet. Here it comes. Yeah, man, me too. God bless. We'll see you soon.
This house is sure gone crazy.